does want to know what's the youngest client you've done these forms for? I know mine is like 22 years old. They did a whole estate plan.
That's a very interesting question. So let me just give you some thing that I think is very important. What we're talking about is powers of attorney here. So what happens when your child turns 18 typically? A lot of times they go off to school.
Hmm.
So when they go to school, they're now 18, they're adults. Guess what? You don't have any right to what they're doing. So what happens if they get into an accident at school? Something happens. You get a call from the hospital, what's the problem? You can't make decisions for them. You don't have the legal power to do so. So that's where I would say I've done it for 18-year-olds for that very reason. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's responsible for you to have your kids sign a power of attorney, both financial and medical, when they do go away to school. And that way, God forbid, spring break, whatever it might be, something happens to them, you're able to make those decisions on their behalf. And so I have clients that said, I'm not paying your tuition unless and until you sign this document because I need to make sure you're okay if something happens. And I'm going to touch base on that financial one. And please don't judge me on this. I had a friend that took his tuition money and spent it at the bar at Michigan State. So you can imagine, when he went back to dad and said, "Dad, I need to pay for tuition," how that phone call went. So you want to be sure your kids are doing the right thing, and as such, you probably want that financial power of attorney as well. And I would make it immediate, not contingent on disability while they're in school. That way you can access the bank. You can access those records to make sure tuition's getting paid. You're making sure that they're not spending money, let's say, at the casino, things like that. And that's where it's probably a good idea for these 18-year-old college students, young adults, to really have that document in place. Now, that said, I have done for 18-year-olds, but usually when I see my clients typically are in their 30s, have a new family and things like that. So that's probably what I see most often. But the youngest, yeah, 18 for sure. That's the youngest you can legally sign these anyway.